Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion, or maybe just like festive, upbeat discussion on sort of taking on the mindfulness or mindful holiday challenge. This is Kimberly Quinn, and I am so thrilled to be here, to be back, to be alive, to be breathing so easily, and just everything working and healthy and in such a great place to be doing this today. And check it out. I was in Ace Hardware, and can you believe that little tree was on clearance? I know, me neither. And I had a coupon, which is not a strength for me, not those little things that come in the mail, Ace Rewards, that's what it is. They typically end up in recycled or under my seat, or I'm just not a strength of mine, I'm not much of a detail person. Anyway, I happened to have it because I had just gone to the mail, so $10 off. So from $59.99 to $49.99. Just take a look at that. Is a steal. Okay, so today's topic, the Mindful Holiday Challenge. This is actually something I remind my students of sort of anyway during midterm and finals week, and it applies to seasoned grown-ups, and if you're students, it applies to you still, it applies to anybody, right? Is that it's important, like let's say it's them in finals, and it's all they're thinking about. They're, it's all day and studying up all night and sucking down the Red Bull, and then they go home with the flu. I mean, I'm not a big fan of finals week, and my students know that. But, every day is just like surviving versus thriving. And there are times, obviously, as anybody who's an adult knows, we've all been around the block a few times. We do have days and weeks like that, and sometimes months if it's something really hard, where we are kind of in survival mode. However, most of the time, or much of the time, that isn't true, but we can feel like it is. Finals week, thank goodness, is not surviving, a terminal illness or something, and so the holidays, same thing. Yet we get wrapped up in it like it is, and it's just all so unnecessary because, I did another episode. Life isn't an emergency. It is most of the time. We have those times. Obviously, most of the time it is not an emergency. Most of the time it's not even an urgency. So the first thing with the holidays is just, first of all, fact check, because and it's not with judgment, because it's easy to take on our atmosphere, kind of like we turn into like holiday chameleons or something. We just kind of blend and take it on all the sort of chaotic energy. It's got a lot of awesome energy too. The holidays have a lot of good stuff going on too. We're talking about the hustle bustle and getting, the social comparison and getting caught up in it. So it's really important to remind ourselves to step out of the current, first of all, that it's not an emergency. The holidays are not an emergency. They're not even an urgency, really. And to just realize also, mindfulness-wise, because one of the biggies with mindfulness is the non-judgmental part. So we don't want to get all wrapped up in the stress of it and get caught up in the current, like the undertow, and like we're getting swept up, and then judge ourselves like, oh no, I know better than that. I'm right back where I was last year. I said I was going to tone it down. I said I wasn't going to, I was going to limit my store visits. I'd limit whatever, and here I go again. The idea is not to shame anybody, because that doesn't go anywhere good. I'm on an anti-shame campaign. And so one of the key components of mindfulness is non-judgment of the self. So all we do, another one is awareness. So they go together, right? So we first become aware of getting swept up in the current, the stress, the, should'ves and could'ves and ought-tos and have-tos and musts and all that, and just say, hey, wait, whoa, I need to take a step back here. It seems like I went over budget, or I just got wrapped up in this. I got up and I wasn't going to do Christmas cards this year. I was going to, because it's just that. I wasn't going to do, and I wasn't going to, and now I'm doing it again. And just take a deep breath and say, you know what, okay. Apparently, I'm feeling anxiety due to the pace that I'm going at right now, on top of a job and kids and partners or whatever, however your life is, and just deep breaths. The breathing is ultra important outside of, the obvious, okay? Because when we breathe deeply with intention and let it out, It's an automatic reset. This is cognitive stuff. This is neurobiology. We, the mind is immediately reset, like rebooted like a computer, and it's brought back from next Tuesday or Christmas Eve or Hanukkah or whatever into now, into this moment, and it's brought back from like Back to the Future. It's brought back from 2 years ago when something happened at the holidays. It was horrible, and now it's all coming back to you, and really just breathe. Okay, I'm not saying it's a cure-all, but it sure helps because it's an immediate relief from anxiety, immediate relief from rumination, which is basically, like the fancy term that just basically is reliving the woulda, coulda, shoulda-haves and the, whatever scenarios happened in the past. And it brings us out of the future into the now because the present moment is all there is. So this is one of the biggies that I talk about with my students during midterms and finals, which also applies to now, is that when they're so wrapped up in surviving every valuable life minute of the day, and they obviously have to study, they have to do their thing. We're not saying that. But during those moments, or those days that we have, it's really important to realize that today matters too. Today matters too. Even if it's one of those days that you really can't help, that you have, 5 papers and 95 tests, or whatever the seasoned adult version of that is. You got Christmas parties, one you don't want to go to, one you have to, and you got to buy all this stuff, and you said you'd bring this, and you forgot the ingredients. We have days like that, no matter what it is, while we're still trying to work and deal with kids, and maybe one of them just tested positive for the Rona, they're fine, but now you can't go anywhere, just threw everything. There are days like that where we just have to at least try to carve out, even if it's 50, if you have a really nutty day, carving out 15 minutes, close the doors on the world for 15 minutes. We can spend that long in the bathroom. So if that's the type of day it is, step up to the mindfulness challenge, put up a boundary. You can do it subtly or not so subtly and say, hey gang, I need 15 minutes. I'm closing the door. Maybe duck into the bathroom. People tend to stay away from the private zone. Just close the door. Who cares what you're doing in there? But it's so important to realize that when we get wrapped up in this crazy holiday momentum, there's lots of good stuff too, that often our life minutes begin to blur and kind of go down the rabbit hole. So it's really important to realize to enjoy this day. Make a conscious decision to live deliberately. And it seems like it's an even bigger challenge, between Thanksgiving and the Christmas Hanukkah season. It just seems like it's a much bigger challenge than trying to slide out in July and just duck into the backyard with a cold lemonade. It can still be hard then, but it's something about the holidays that are just off to the races, and we're like gerbils on crack, wearing little Santa helmets and red bows. It's just like how it is. Okay, so mindfulness, breathing, huge. In and out. And if I didn't have to use one hand to hold the camera, I would show you my Okinawan breathing technique. I'll figure that out. I'm going to get a tripod and we'll make it happen. For right now, just in and out. Okay, in and out. Another one I'll show you with one hand is to place firm pressure, doing circles on your eyelids. Circles on your eyelids. This stimulates the vagus nerve, and it's an immediate reset of the vagus nerve. Also, the outer rims of your earlobes. Apply firm pressure, and that will also activate your vagus nerve. It's an immediate relief. And if you're one of those people who is still really struggling to be good to yourself for whatever, probably past history reasons, those little things you can do for yourself are a lovely step towards cultivating self-love. And here's why. It goes into the self-esteem bank. I did something good for myself, even if it's something as small as rubbing your eyelids and as small as rubbing your earlobes, and calming yourself down is sending a message to your authentic self that you love you. And it's a really good start, because there are many of us who grew up in, difficult situations, who learned to have more love and compassion for other people outside of us than ourselves. So if that's you, start small and give yourself big kudos for doing it, because you're loving you if you do something even as small as an eyelid massage or an ear massage on the outer rim, because you are showing love and compassion to yourself even in a small way. Yes. Okay, what else did we talk about? Awareness. Mindfulness is about being awake and alert and aware in this moment. Breathing, awareness, remember non judgment, non judgment. And so this means, again, if we're also having anxiety, we snap. Doesn't mean don't apologize, that's good. But just to realize, okay, I'm feeling anxious and I'm not judging myself for it. Feeling anxious and I'm not judging myself for it. Or if I'm preoccupied about what's coming up, just, okay, I'm preoccupied today. So what? Who cares? And welcome to the human race. And here's the thing, when we can really sort of master mindfulness, even for a smidge of the day, if you do it for 15 minutes on a day you're having a really fast, busy day, you're a champion. And make sure that you tell yourself that. Make sure that you tell yourself that. You want to be, we want to be in as present as possible and spend our life minutes as if they are cash, because all we've got is the now. The only things that make it to long-term memory are the things we are attenuating to now. And then lastly, I do this every day of my life, is to set an intention, because the intention, I say it out loud, when we set an intention in the morning, that is how our day will go. So I'm going to have fun today. I'm going to laugh today. I'm going to be worry-free today. I am not going to let things get to me today. I'm going to be grateful today. I'm going to let the small stuff go today. Whatever it is, you want to just proclaim that right in the beginning, because intention is where it all begins, and then it puts it out there to the universe, and your day is going to go how you decide it goes. That's just how it goes. Okay, so the mindfulness challenge. Step up, and also, I want to say one last thing. Step out of the current. Take a step back. Because when we're swept, just like being swept up in reality, if you've ever had that experience in the ocean, you know, you're swept up underneath, you're a little kid, and you get sand in your crackers too, and you have to get it all out of your bathing suit. Just remember that if you have to, when we step back and look at something new, even if it's the backyard or Central Park or wherever it is, we get an immediate new perspective, even if it's inches from our door. It's still a different atmosphere, and it helps us gain a little perspective. And so that's really it, the Mindful Holiday Challenge. Step up, step back, be in the moment, and breathe. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my very new sexy kitchen, actually. It's just a little bit windy outside, so I was in here. Anyway, from Northern Vermont, have a mindful, mindful, mindful day.